Rising. It's good to see you all. The more that we understand about ourselves, we can more efficiently navigate this journey of life that we're on. And many people, you're tuning in right now, you might have a calling. You might have certain feelings. You're not really sure why you feel a certain way about a certain thing. You might have traumas about certain things. You know, all of a sudden this trauma pops up for you and you're not really sure why you feel this trauma. You're not sure why you feel this drive. Well, the more that we understand about our higher self, the more that we learn about our soul, our essence, and the more that we understand about our past lives, we now can move forward on this journey and really maximize what we're here to do. You know, Dolores Cannon said that this is Earth School. We're all in Earth School, and we're here to accomplish certain things in this lifetime. So today, we're going to dive deep into this and understand why we feel certain things that make us feel empowered, maybe traumas, and why we have a calling to do certain things. Maybe you have a calling to help people. And the more that we learn about our past lives, that's going to help us navigate this time period. If you're just joining us, could you kindly hit the like button? I'm very grateful if you hit the like button so others will get this message. Many people have a calling. You might resonate with the 144. This code, these deep codes within our DNA, this information can be revealed as we move forward. Lion Teach, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that very much. So today, you never know who shows up on our everyday lives. We have a professional at reading the Akashic records, learning more about our past lives, and we'll hear real life stories as well. So let's bring on to the program the Brooklyn Shaman, Adam Gell. Adam Gell.
This is like the Tonight Show, everyone.
Yeah, it's good to see you. One of the things that you do is Akashic record readings, and using it to learn about our past lives. And just to start us off, I know you spoke about Akashic records before, but so people understand it, what are the Akashic records?
So the Akashic records are a reading or an imprint of our soul's journey from the beginning of time, right? The imprint of what we've experienced from one life to the next, and the energy that gets stored in the Akasha itself is read or can be accessed in order for us to understand, again, our soul's plan and also our past lives.
And when you have the information, sometimes I share how everything's documented in the Akashic records, and when we go through life, it's almost like a spiral. We repeat things, and sometimes in our past life, maybe we either did something or we came back to maybe finish a job. So how does learning about our past lives, or how we tap into our past lives, what could it tell us about either traumas we have, or maybe a calling or a drive, like what we feel in this life?
Well, sometimes we can't understand why we're experiencing certain traumas in this life that have nothing to do with the life itself. And what happens is we recognize the fact that once we delve into this rabbit hole of information and understand that there's more than meets the eye, and we do come to the understanding that we have past lives, and the past lives themselves have the ability to shed light on things that may have happened in another lifetime. And what that does is it brings us to this place to understand the phobias we have, the traumas that we're experiencing, and to go back into time to retrace those experiences. I had an experience myself, if you want me to share that experience.
Yeah, so, I know one of the things you were sharing, that you dealt with asthma for a while, and you also have a calling to heal people. So, and then you learned about your past lives. So, and that's what we really do on this channel is we're all dealing with things, and we have experiences, and then when we share and collaborate our personal experiences, it shines a light for other people. So, yeah, tell us about your
Yeah,
past life.
well, so for me, first off, maybe about 2010, 2011, I was experiencing a lot of anxiety, looking up actually at the vents in the building in my gym where I was teaching as a phys ed teacher. And every time I looked up at the gym, I would see the air coming through with the little cloth that showed that the air was, blowing through. So I would tell the students, could you tell the custodian to please shut off the air, the vent? And somehow psychologically, I was tying that vent to some experience that I wasn't yet in contact with, which I'd find out. And I was experiencing asthma, and I knew that there was physical symptoms that were taking place, but there were also psychological aspects of it, emotional aspects that were being tied into that. So what I did was, as I was on the approach from the conventional medicine path and getting more into a holistic path, one of my coworkers at work told me, why don't you visit my friend who was a healer? At the time, I didn't know what a healer was, to be honest with you. I looked at the person as maybe doing, massage or any type of work like that. Called the person on the phone. They said, you have asthma. Right away, the person knew. I didn't mention anything. And so from that point forward, I delved into the understanding that there's more than meets the eye. And as I went further with the work the person was doing with me energetically, I got into the Akashic records. And I wound up getting a reading from somebody that had told me, without me telling them anything, that you have breathing problems that was due to a past life. And I had no recollection or understanding of what that person meant until they started to say, do you speak German? And did you spend time in Germany? I said, I actually did. In 1987, I was married to someone in Germany. I spoke German fluently within five months. And I felt like I was home, and reflecting back. And so from that point forward, when the person did the reading to me, it seemed authentic and it seemed like I could relate to that. And then I started doing readings myself and getting the same information for myself, that I was from Berlin, that I had a German mother and a Jewish father, and that I was a doctor in the Holocaust, in the concentration camps. Skip years ahead, as I'm doing readings for somebody and doing a healing work, at the end of the session, the person who I had did the work for gets up off the chair or off the floor, wherever they were relaxing. And they said, I have something to tell you. I said, what is it? She said, I remember you. I said, from where? She said, from the concentration camps. And when she told me that, I was actually obviously blown away, because it showed obviously the pattern and all the points that were hit by other people that said the same exact thing to me. And it brought the emotions of all the feelings of breathing to the forefront. It brought the phobias and anxieties I had myself of doctors, of visiting a doctor and not trusting the doctors, because in fact, I was relating my own experience of being a doctor and not being trustworthy of people in the concentration camps. And skip ahead to that, the person who I asked to do this also was also an Akashic record reader. And she said to me, she did the reading, she said, you were from Berlin and that you had a German mother and a Jewish father. And that's exactly the same information that I received from the Akashic records itself. And then skip ahead, I was interviewing somebody for past lives. And what happened was the person said, I think somebody's going to know you. And sure enough, about a week later, a person contacted me and said, I remember you from Auschwitz, from the concentration camps. And so me being the example of removing that amnesia of, in other words, when we come to this plane, we have like an amnesia curtain that blocks the information from coming through. But in certain lifetimes, it's necessary for us to explore or to be tested or face past lives that will come into this present life in order to remind us of something that we still need to work on or face, that has nothing to do with the present moment that we exist in. And so for me, it brought me to an understanding that we are more than this personal experience at this particular moment, that we do carry energies from other lives that impact the lives we live in. And specifically for me, it eased my anxiety of going to doctors, because then I said, it's me who I don't trust. It's not the doctor I don't trust. It's my own personal past life experience that's playing into this moment. And then I also understood the fact that I had this desire to be in Germany. I lived there in 1987, and I had to fulfill that mission. And I actually felt like I was living in the 1940s as opposed to being in the 1987 year line. I dressed in clothes that were like that. I wore shoes. And so when you work with people and you work with clients, they're experiencing the same things over and over and over again. And in the lifetime, we're trying to avoid it and not even understand it. We don't recognize the fact that it's a continuum of our soul's path. And sometimes we have to stop and recognize that we're bleeding not from this life, but we could be bleeding from another life. But it's necessary for us to bandage that wound by exposing it and then living a little bit of it so that we can move forward in a more sense of peace and I guess serenity.
You know, one of the things that you mentioned earlier, how you weren't aware of these things, and now these are the things you're doing yourself. And you know, like people, like they'll see us, we're just two cheese from Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying?
Right, that's right.
So you know, people see us like on when I started my channel, and people hear my Brooklyn accent, and they don't maybe take it seriously. But we're all just common people, and we just incarnated, and you know, it's to show people. God wants to show people that it's just everyday life people that make this switch. So just like you, I started learning about these things, and then we evolved. So we had kind of similar paths to getting to where we are now. I just want to say, Mama Koss and Timothy, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. And please hit the like button if you are just joining us on this tremendous journey. Sometimes we have callings, maybe a calling to help people. And you also said something else about how you were saving people in your time there.
Yeah, well, the last woman who contacted me, referring back to that past life, had said to me that when she recalled me as being a doctor in the concentration camps. Again, something that was confirmed by the other readings and other people. But what she said more specifically is that she said, when I was on the line, you took me off the line and saved me because I was pregnant, and you had me work with you in this office. And to hear this information sounds maybe a little far off, but just to give you just a little side note to this. So I do also a little bit of remote viewing, and the remote viewing that I did took me to a place actually of the hospital where I perhaps worked, or where doctors who before they went to the concentration camps worked. So that confirmed, and I looked it up on the internet, and I saw there was a hospital called the Charité, which is in Berlin. And so these confirmations helped me understand it, but it also gave me the opportunity to actually do something good in a time that was so bad, and to understand that we have that opportunity to do something like that, to teach us that there's that polarity, right, between good and good and bad, and dark and light.
I think that you know, to see the synchronicities, because when you're new to these, it's overwhelming. So you know, I've shared, you know, when you have firsthand experience of something, then it gives you validation. That's why we kind of get these things. Like when it comes to remote viewing, you know, I always share like how Tesla, you know, talked about, you know, when we understand the universe, we think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So when we think about frequencies, or tuning in, or tuning into a different station, you know, when you look at maybe Akashic records, going into past lives, remote viewing, maybe in the present time, or some people remote view the future. I mean, maybe you could explain how this is all kind of intertwines with each other.
Well, what's interesting is the fact that we have, I assume, parallel universes. We have universes that are taking place at the same time. And the ability for us to step out of the present moment to understand that we can go, and our consciousness is separate from the brain, and that the consciousness, just like in a dream, when we dream, we can have, you know, premonitions and recall situations that may happen in the future, or actually have dreams that took place in the past. We're connected in different directions to keep us continuously made aware of our connection to this whole grand scheme of being in this universe. And so, yeah, I think that the remote viewing itself is looking into past experiences, which it goes to show you that you can do remote viewing. There are many people that do that. They solve murders, they solve crimes, they look at different types of experiences that took place. as well as the present moment, but like Mike said, the future as well. So there's so many people that will remote view over a specific subject and come up with the same feedback. So it goes to confirm that their consciousness is connecting to the energy of what didn't exist yet, but has the potential to already probably be in existence or maybe happened already. We just haven't caught up to that time energy or that expansion.
When we discuss the spiral or the spiral timeline, so we're supposed to maybe learn lessons or come back and we have unfinished business and we repeat the lesson until we achieve it and then spiral outwards and expand.
Well, I think as we've mentioned this before, I think we're operating in a cyclical manner, right? That we're constantly revisiting the same conflicts and traumas that we've dealt with in the past, except hopefully that we raise ourselves to a deeper connection to our higher self, that higher self that gives us the information from outside of ourselves, right? That connection to the God, to the spirit, to the universe of whatever energy that is always trying to help us evolve to be our best self. And so I think every time we spin around, we're offered the opportunity to revisit a part of ourselves that can grow and reach our full potential.
I think that's where the triggering comes into play. We don't do. People don't want to change until the pain of remaining the same exceeds the pain of change. Because none of us want to change. We like to do the same thing. It's scary to change. So I think that's why maybe sometimes we go through trials, tribulations, deal with traumas, and it kind of forces us. God wants us to change, but what's normal. We feel comfortable there, and we don't want to change. So that's kind of why we go through that. Talking about healing. You do drumming and chord cutting and things like that. Can you talk a little bit about the healing and how that works?
Yeah, well, we all accumulate energies within our body from, again, past lives, right? That we come into this world with our ancestral patterns of what we've experienced from people in our family, and more so in this lifetime, the inner child that gets wounded or damaged by specific, interactions with parents, friends, in school, whatever it may be, at the job, at work, but more so our inner child. And so when that inner child is wounded or hurt, we create energetic either defenses around our body to protect ourselves from further feeling these pains, or we separate ourselves from our soul, the essence of who we are, in order to not feel or be connected to that trauma or that period in our life where we felt so down and out. And so what healing does is it rebalances the energies around the body, the outside of the body first, because that's where we first feel it, and that's first where we can read it. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to create a balance or an equilibrium in the ethereal body, outside of the body, which then creates more harmony within, and the chakra system, clearing the chakras and keeping everything balanced. Also doing readings and picking up on the inner child, the wounded inner child, and understanding and helping a person assimilate that back and help them try to comfort themselves and saying, okay, I take you back into my life. I thought I can move away from you and leave you in the past because now I'm a grown up. But the more we pull away from that inner child without validating it and then bringing it back, or not bringing it back, the unhealthier we become, and the more illness and emotional problems that create the physical problems exist.
The more that we become conscious of this and really seeing the correlation between emotional and having a physical ailment, it really is true. And that's why really staying focused on our energetic health. So you would say that we have an auric field or an energetic field, and this is a dense reality that we're in, so we might withstand damage, and also we could over the course of our journey pick up attachments, cords, and you want to talk about maybe cord cutting and tying up and cauterizing the loose ends. I share on this channel about getting rid of loose ends. This man is a professional at getting rid of any of the loose ends because we don't want our energies drained, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, we when we are consistently bombarded with specific emotions and our inability to resolve these conflicts or emotions, what they do is they manifest in the physical body as a physical ailment. And through the chakra system that we have, which is a connection to obviously each different energy center through the body, there's 7 different energy centers. There's specific places that we store energy or we feel energy in our body. When we no longer could emotionally put up with the onslaught of dealing with something on a daily basis, because first off, our ego doesn't want to hear it all the time. It wants to push it aside and say, I've overcome that, I'm okay now. But in the background, it lurks, and it lurks in the energetic body as a form of, as pain, a form of a nagging ache, and then eventually it forms a specific ailment in one of the organs in one of those chakra systems. So my job is, as a healer, is to first of all access what emotions are a person dealing with, or what are they feeling, in order that's creating this present physical situation. And many times people are resistant to go into the emotions because, again, people first off don't want to admit that they're emotionally distraught over something that bothers them, because it becomes the ego, right? Ego problem versus the conscious, subconscious mind. And so what I'm doing is I'm cutting cords from people and recognizing that certain people in our lives create attachments. And we, through our codependent relationships, are mostly responsible for creating those relationship types of cords. But we have other cords from parents and friends and people that exist in our lives. And so, yeah, I think cutting the cords is important for us to have a healthy auric body and vibrate at a high frequency.
You know, we talk about different healing modalities, and like on my journey, we don't all do the same thing. So I prefer the extreme heat. You know, I was sharing a bit about my sauna journey and autophagy and fasting, and I was telling you about fasting, and you like the extreme cold and the extreme breathing, which I saw you before. I don't know how he does it. I would pass out in like 2 seconds when he does the breathing. But you want to talk about the breathing?
Yeah, I recognized a few years ago that I incorporated the Wim Hof breath, and just the deep breathing, the axis of going into a place that creates a sense of stress within my body, that pushes me to the limit of feeling something that can make me almost pass out, so to speak. But then eventually realizing the fact that you can go beyond a certain point, and you become more plastic, neuroplasticity. You're developing in a sense where you could expand upon who you are by pushing the limits. And it's so important to do that. And so the breathing I do is deep breathing for different rounds, holding my breath for a long period of time. And that increases my mental capacity to go beyond certain stresses that would exist. So this allows me to adapt to daily life and helps me overcome stresses that would normally get in my way. And that deep breathing is one of the most powerful ways I find that gives me that opportunity to do that.
Yeah, the same things that we could look as per our health. So when you get into an extreme, so if it's extreme heat, extreme cold, your body is in a special place where you're adapting and becoming stronger. And I feel a lot of people, including myself, including you, we all went through our things in the past few years of a tribulation that just went on and on and on. And you say, when are you going to let me out of here, God? When are you going to let me out? And I feel like God puts us in those extreme conditions, just like if I put myself in the sauna, extreme heat or extreme cold, like Wim Hof, or doing the breathing, those extremes, it kind of unlocks something within us, toughens us up, just like a diamond is formed under great pressure. We all have this great pressure to bring out the best in us, and I think that that's what we all need right now. We need the best in us, and it's a powerful time period. Anything you want to leave us off with?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we're all looking to be comfortable. But life is not always comfortable, and as we know, we sometimes we look for the path of least resistance. But the path that we take sometimes, the road that's less traveled, and the road that pushes us on a course, as Michael just referred to, of pushing ourselves, is the path that eventually will help us become, find our true self and our higher self, because we're being tested to evolve to the best we can be. And when we take that path of least resistance, we lessen our ability to rise to the occasion of who we are. Just to leave everybody with a message, I just think on the note of what we're discussing, it's important for us to first recognize our feelings and sit with our feelings and not run away from them, and not think that when we are feeling down that we will be on this path of a continuum forever. Eventually things change and things shift, as Michael said, in a cyclical manner. We go around.
I do see divine timing play. That's why, like, it's a journey, and journey has twists and turns, and we want to plan things out like a trip, and it's not a trip. So when we go through the firsthand experience, then we could come back and share our stories. And I felt that going through the isolation season or the wilderness season, and saying, when is it going to end? But it does activate certain things in the firsthand experience. Even dealing with the healing that you gave to me, it's a firsthand experience. It opens your mind to other things. So as like when we were younger, and that's why people like us, the two cheese from Brooklyn, people see people that are you might not think of a Brooklyn shaman, or whatever it is, but what people are seeing is energy and authenticity. And I think that in the past, people look to labels. People look, oh, we have to fit in a certain box. I mean, that's what we do on this channel. I do not fit in any box. I don't associate myself with any box. I associate with being authentic, and I know you do as well. And I'm grateful for everything that you do, your service, and for a great friendship. And how can people find you and get a healing from you?
Yeah, well, my website is adamgaleuniversalhealing.com. I obviously have the Akashic record readings I do, and I do a shamanic card cording, soul retrieval. So just an interesting thing, as Michael said, as he referred to Brooklyn Shaman.
Do you also have the longest YouTube channel name?
Yeah, well, I told Michael if I was a baseball player or a football player, they'd have to give me 2 jerseys to put my name across the back of the jersey. Yeah.
We're going to put Adam's YouTube channel link in the description. Check it out. He does great interviews. Yeah. I mean, you've learned a lot too from all of your interviews too, right?
Well, yeah, I'm very interested in near-death experiences. I'm very interested in understanding what happens when we pass on. Are we more than just this physical body? Like, could we have all these experiences? Could Michael be sharing all this important information, and after our physical body passes on, are there just remnants left of videos or information, or do we go on, or do we go beyond this experience? So in other words, I feel that we go on, and so my near-death experience interviews are to bring light to the fact that we are more than the physical body, that the soul goes on, as well as other UFO and UAP information, which is one of my interests, as you know.
Yeah, very. And like I say too, if you stick to what you're interested in, that's what makes it, powerful. And I feel in the past, we had to do things. Oh, you had to have this type of job. You needed to do this a certain way. But when we actually listen to our heart, remember the heart is actually our first brain. The brain is the third brain. And listen to our stomach, right? Warning us. So it's a different way of thinking. So if this resonates with you, please hit the like button. We appreciate it. And if you're getting this, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Adam Gell's channel. Really great interviews that he does as well. And we're always learning. I tell people I set a standard to learn at least one new thing every single day. And what we consume is not only what we eat and drink, it's what we watch and what we listen to. So the more that we're tuned into great people that have great things to share, positive energy, that's part of our frequency right now. And the more you're positive, you're going to be on that higher timeline. And if you surround yourself with negative people, or you listen to negative things out there, that's going to draw your frequency off as well. So maybe we'll have the Two Cheese from Brooklyn podcast or something like that, right? So, yeah. All right. Love you guys. Let us know in the comments. What do you think about this? Do you have any past life memories? A lot of people, I also feel a lot of people are realizing this right now because the energies are so high. They're having some past life memories pop up. So it's a good time because we know as we're making this, we're in the eclipse season. So everything's high right now. So don't let opportunities pass you by. We know the energy is very potent right now. Things aren't done for us. So through radical action, we can make changes. As you shared earlier, we learn about our past lives. We can make the changes. So let's strive to become 1% better every single day. Let's strive to become the best version of ourselves, and let's improve the quality of our everyday lives. So I love each and every one of you. We'll be back on tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you all. Have a great day. Bye for now.